Hello, everyone. My name is Ray, and I'm the host of Survivors and Parents of Murdered Children, the podcast. This is your trigger warning. The following episode contains discussions of homicide, violent crime, death, trauma, grief, suicide, and other sensitive topics that some listeners may find distressing. The stories shared on this podcast come directly from survivors, family members, investigators, and professionals. They are told with the goal of honoring victims, educating the public, and giving a voice to those whose lives have been changed forever by violence. Please take care of yourself while listening. If at any point you feel overwhelmed, we encourage you to pause the episode and return when you're ready. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping us remember the victims, support the survivors, and keep their stories alive. Yesterday, July 12th of 2026, was the 50th anniversary of this heinous act dubbed the Fullerton Massacre. I guess I had the privilege of sitting in this memorial grove at the University of Fullerton, where there were 7 trees of different species erected in memoriam of everyone that had lost their life that day. And yesterday, I got to speak to and listen to the surviving family members. And one thing that stuck out with me was that they held a little service and they read the names of all those that were lost in an attempt to keep them alive. I'll do that now. The victims were Paul Hertzberg, 30 years old. Paul Jacobson, 32. Donald Cargis, 41. Deborah Paulson was 25 years old. Seth Fessenden was a 72-year-old man. Frank Toplansky, 51 years old. And Stephen Becker, 32. The 2 victims that were injured and did not lose their life that day were Maynard Hoffman, 64 years old, and Donald Caron, 55 years old. Of those present was the Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer, and he said something very poignant that stuck with me. Nobody who commits a crime like this deserves to rejoin the population, rejoin civilization. This is an uncivilized man. This is someone who took actions above and beyond what anybody would do in response to respond to anything. And now he's applying for parole under the grounds that he has gained his sanity back. Folks, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how this is happening. But yesterday was a reminder while I stood there in the Memorial Grove at Fullerton University, and I saw the trees that were erected in honor and memoriam of everyone who lost their life that day. And watching the folks who have survived, who are, quite frankly, in their old age as well, watching their stories of dealing with this tragedy. And in the back of my mind thinking, Allaway could actually be granted parole for reasons of gaining his sanity back. Please listen to this next show, this next podcast, which was recorded live during the events that took place yesterday, July 12th of 2026, the 50th anniversary of the Fullerton Massacre. With that in the back of your mind, Allaway may actually be granted parole. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, thank you so much.
Let me share a big Titan greetings to all of you that are gathered here for this momentous occasion in the history of our campus. And on behalf of our president, Ronald Rochon, and the cabinet and all of the folks on the campus that have been involved in helping to plan for this event, this moment in our time together. And we are thankful that you're here. We welcome you, and we understand what family means here at Cal State Fullerton with this event. There will be a number of folks that will be sharing as we move through the program today. And again, we want to thank you for taking the time to be here and to join with us in such a momentous and important occasion as this 50th anniversary. At this point, I would like to present the colors and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. We have the Fullerton Police Department will be providing the colors.
Time, march, left, detail, halt, right, hey, freeze it, up.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, up, left, hey. Really not, forward, march, left, 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 right.
Thank you. You may be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce Chaplain Brad Stetson, who is going to provide an invocation for us this evening.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's what a beautiful setting this is here with the photos on such an important night. Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you. I'm Chaplain Brad Stetson, and it's a great honor for me to be with you tonight as you gather together in loving remembrance and in solidarity with one another. Please join me in a word of opening prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the precious gift of life you have given to each one of us, and we thank you for the great, enduring, and unquenchable love everyone here tonight has for their loved one unfairly taken from them by homicide. We thank you for the courage and commitment of all of the family members here tonight, the commitment they have to holding high the memory of their loved ones and to seeking justice in this world, even as they journey forward in their own lives, always inspired, always comforted, and always motivated by the everlasting devotion they have for their loved ones. We ask, O Lord, your blessing upon this event and upon the families who honor their loved ones tonight. Comfort them, encourage them, and strengthen them always. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Stetson. Now for a brief reflection of the campus. Our New president, 2 years new, President Ronald Rashad.
Good evening, everybody. It's a beautiful day. I gotta tell you all, I walked up and the first person I spoke with was Phoenicia McCullough, and said, it's just a beautiful day. She said, it's a bit humid. I said, you don't know humidity. I come from the Midwest. Illinois, Indiana, that's humidity, boy. It is a beautiful evening today, and I mentioned her name with all seriousness. I want to, I was here yesterday and just walked around with my wife and my 2 adult children, and we were just sitting here and kind of reflecting a little bit, and I just was absolutely amazed by the beautification of this space. It's often, when we talk about campuses and agencies and associations and institutions, and we talk about the beauty of them, and rarely do we speak about the individuals who work behind the scenes, who provide such meticulous attention to make sure that every I is dotted, every T is crossed. Chaplain, I feel God's presence, and I'm thankful for your prayer, and I'm very, very appreciative of this opportunity to speak with you all. If we could, though, could we just give a round of applause to Phoenicia and the entire team that's been working so hard, please? When you see people around campus doing their job, just thank them. Please do. Every Titan works really hard. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening and taking part in this important memorial celebration and this vigil. Your presence here means a great deal to Cal State Fullerton and also to the families who we honor tonight, who we pay tribute tonight. I first learned about this grove and the history behind it in a conversation with my new friend, District Attorney Todd Spitzer. Todd called me one evening and we spoke about this particular space. And he gave me a sense, He gave me a sense about the history of this particular space, but most importantly, he talked to me about community, about family, about Fullerton. He talked to me about Cal State. So I thank you for your partnership, sir. I thank you for your entire team that's been working so hard with my team and making this day an honorable day, a reflective day, a day of celebration for life and liberty. This conversation that I had was meaningful in many ways, and I know that it will pay forward in such a positive relationship. It was a story that stayed with me and led me to think about what our campus community could do to honor our fallen colleagues. We wanted to do so in a way that would respect the memory and the loved ones who are still affected each moment. The circumstances that led Cal State Fullerton to plant this special pine grove was extremely tragic. However, out of tragedy, Titans came together to create something lasting, a living memorial, a place that would carry forward the memories of those we lost for as long as this university stands. In 50 years since, this memorial grove has become an important part of our community and also of our school's history. This space right here we would identify as one for reflection, one for reverence, a place for peace for generations of Titans who have walked these paths before, sat beneath these trees, and found a quiet place to reflect and to remember. This milestone calls for a renewal today. This is why we're here, to rededicate this space, to pay honor to this space. May we continue to serve our community for another 50 years and beyond, doing what we're doing right now, coming together. To the families, please know that you are and will always be a part of our Titan family and our larger community. We want to thank you, and I mean this with all my heart. We want to thank you for allowing us to be here this evening, allowing us to have these photos, to see these names, to pray with you, to honor you, to celebrate with you. We recognize your loved ones. They are worthy of our greatest effort. Let us rededicate this grove in honor and remembrance of the members of our community. I thank each of you all for being here this evening. And again, to the families, again, thank you so much for being here with us.
Before I introduce our next presenter, I do want to acknowledge, I believe, the only other member of the Titan family who was here in 1976, Norma Morris, who has been a dear friend of mine and a colleague for longer than I like to think, and sometimes I even can count. But I really have valued her advice, her friendship, her collaboration on so many things here in our careers as Titans. And I thought I would do that in light of the fact that she is the mother-in-law of our next speaker, Todd Spitzer, who is our Orange County District Attorney. And I would like to introduce Todd to come up and make comments as well.
Thank you, Paul. Whoops. Dr. O'Shawn, I want to thank you. I know you have other demands, and I know you have to see to them. You may not know Dr. O'Shawn is one of our national leaders on the opioid crisis, and I can't thank him enough. It's a scourge in our society. It's killing hundreds of thousands of people unnecessarily, and my office, quite frankly, is dedicated to stopping that as well as our fine police officers. I want to thank Chief Radis and the Fullerton Police Department and everything they do for our community, and your chief here at Cal State Fullerton for their presence. Dr. O'Shawn talked to you about my conversation with him about the 50th anniversary, and it was really at the urging of my dear friends Paul Paulson and Patricia Almazan and her husband Joe. We've been involved in this issue for decades. When you're in law enforcement, sometimes we talk about career cases, things that just never go away, no matter how much you age and how much you think you've moved on to a new case, a different case. There's just some things that never go away. And our criminal justice system has the ability to open up wound after wound after wound. And some people think, quite frankly, it's patently unfair. And other people believe that our criminal justice system, by allowing all these opportunities for new hearings and the like, is one of the reasons we live in the greatest country on earth. It's this crazy balance for justice. I'm wearing a pin from the 2008 National Crime Victims event, and the theme that year was justice. So, I stand in this space. I stood here 10 years ago and talked at the 40th, and there wasn't all these buildings and things. It was grass. I remember parking and just walking straight across. And the thing about that is that while we think about what happened 50 years ago tonight, life goes on. There's always progress. Things happen. Thousands and thousands of students come through this campus to get their education. People have to live their lives. They get married. They have children, right? They have grandchildren. And the reason this event is so important to me is because you can never forget. It's our responsibility never to forget. The thing in the work I do, and I have many of my managers here and my prosecutors, and I'm grateful to them every single day, is, and I told Dr. O'Shawn, the academic world looks at things a certain way, right? And you all have hope, and look at the best in people, and you always get up every day and you just feel so good about the moment that life offers to you and your students. And this is going to be the day that you or your students are going to have these amazing epiphanies, and you're going to have great discoveries, and you're going to publish this piece of work, and you're going to have this discussion at some amazing symposium. And we wake up every day and deal with this, which is the new application for the killer who now has made an application to get out of the mental institution. So this is our work leading into September, is getting out. This photo is a protest I led on the courthouse steps over a decade ago during one of those applications to get released. I want to wake up every day and have epiphanies. I want to wake up every day with the wonderful people I work with who are here today and make a tremendous difference in people's lives. Our work is tough. We deal with tragedy every single day. Sometimes it's hard to get up and feel really great about what the day is going to hold, because when we go to court, we don't always know what the outcome's going to be. And in this case, a jury may make a different decision than we're advocating. We don't know what the future holds. But what I promise Pat, and what I promise Joe, what I promise Paul and the other family members is we fight. We're fight. We are warriors. And so sometimes we get a little hardened, right? Sometimes, just like the police, we have to put up an armor in order to survive, like to be able to deal with these tragedies and get through them, because we have this tragedy and tomorrow we have another tragedy. And for 40 plus years, this was Orange County's worst homicide. And then it was surpassed with an additional victim at the Salon Meritage in Seal Beach. I want to talk about these trees. I'm just such a big believer in trees and what they say to you. These trees represent the victims, and they've been here for such a long time, rooted in the ground, right? They're strong and they've weathered and they survive wind and storms and all kinds of other events. And they've watched this growing up of this amazing campus. Sometimes if you're by yourself, like Dr. Rashawn was here last night with his family, or you're here and it's quiet and the wind is moving about, these trees talk to you. They wrestle, but they whisper. And I do want to believe that the victims are telling us we're doing good work. I have to believe that the victims know that we love them and care about them, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that there's justice. And your definition of justice can be very different than my definition of justice. My definition of justice with this person, and I really don't want to say his name because I don't want to dignify it, but my definition is that this person needs to die away from society. I just fundamentally believe, and some of you may disagree, that some people just should never have the privilege to come back and join us as a citizen in our free society. That's what I believe. And that's what we do in my office. We make those kinds of decisions every day about whether we advocate for somebody to return. And we have Tamika Williams is here. She runs our recidivism reduction unit. We believe that people should get second, third, and fourth chances. But not here. Not here. I want to talk about my mother-in-law, and I appreciate Paul, I wanted to acknowledge her as well because she was here that day. And her mother was here in the library that day. And then my wife, Jamie, Judge Jamie, was a student at some point here, not on that day. And then I married her and then came into the family of the Cal State Fullerton family, right? And it's just interesting how things work like that. And sometimes I wonder, would I be as passionate about this event and my commitment to really ensuring that justice continues to be done if I didn't have that relationship through my mother-in-law and my wife? I hope I would, and I think I would. But there's something about the Cal State Fullerton community in Orange County which is dominant, pervasive, true, and dignified. There's so many titans that have committed themselves to the work of this community and believing in our community. This is a special place, and Dr. Rashawn and the good people that he acknowledged, and my staff and the good people on our staff and the families created this space. Spaces matter. How you take care of them, how things shine and are taken care of, how grounds look, it matters. It's a reflection on the values and the recognition of things that no one wants to necessarily talk about on a college campus because it's difficult. But the fact that Cal State Fullerton has done this, Dr. Rashawn has recognized it, and we will always take care of this place, is incredibly important to me. And I know it is to you. So I just want to say thank you so much for all your years of support of this place, for the recognition of those who continue to advocate for their loved ones, like Paul and Pat and Joe. And I hope you, if you're in this academic arena of Cal State Fullerton, that as we go through the next 6 months, year, however long it takes to litigate this new application for release, that you will hold us also in your prayers. We will need strength. Some people think 50 years is enough. There'll be a lot of commentary. I wrote a piece in the Register today, if you haven't seen it. I let the world know that we're about to engage in this battle. We will need your prayers. Just to the 7 individuals and to the 2 that were wounded, I just need to tell you, we will not let you down to the best of our ability. For 50 years, we've been fighting this fight, numerous applications for release, success heretofore, unknown what the future holds. But you need to know you did not die in vain. You are committed individuals to this university. You are lovely people who are loved by your families. You all died too soon and in an event that's unspeakable. And it is our responsibility to ensure that you are never forgotten. I can't thank you enough for your symbolism of these amazing specimens, this beautiful grove, that we will do everything we can to continue to seek justice. And I hope we make you proud. And irrespective of the outcome, I just want you all to know that your loved ones have never, ever, ever given up to make sure that people like me and the other people who prosecute these cases, the law enforcement community and all the community, are always going to be held responsible. We miss you. We're so sorry for this tragedy. But let you clearly understand, we recognize who you are, what you are, and you will never be forgotten. God bless you, and God bless this wonderful place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Todd. I would like to now invite up two of the individuals who have joined us this evening, Paul Paulson and Pat Almazan, to come and provide a victims, survivors recollection and reflection on that day 50 years ago.
There we go.
Okay.
You move it in.
Okay.
You can do that.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to begin with the many thanks that are due. I don't believe in blanket thank yous, so please bear with me for a few minutes. Let me begin. Thank you, President Roshan, past presidents and staff, for all they've done for these past 50 years in remembering the cruel and unnecessary deaths of 7 loving individuals on that horrible morning of July 12, 1976. In addition to the 2 individuals who were seriously wounded by a cowardly, selfish mass murderer. And I'm going to mention his name, Edward Allaway. Not that I want to, but I don't want anyone to forget that name. You'll be hearing more of it. Dr. Roshan, I realize you are new to the campus, but the selfless effort you put into this event is acknowledged and very much appreciated. Continuing, I'd like to recognize a very special lady, a staff member of Dr. Roshan. A heartfelt thank you to Vice President Venetia McCullough. She worked very hard for all her dedicated work on this 50th vigil event, and a special thank you to our Master of Ceremonies, Paul Miller, who, by the way, was Master at the 40th, as he mentioned, and who was present on that horrible day years ago, who knew my father, who knew Debbie, who knew all these people. Friends, family, and students, the awful memories that we all carry to this day. It doesn't go away. Many thanks to District Attorney Todd Spitzer and his staff, especially staff member Kimberly Eds, who worked many long hours on the event. Todd Spitzer has stood strong and has been a warrior on behalf of the victims and their families, fighting every inch of the way for justice. And a special thanks to my longtime friend, Paul Paulson, who lost his beautiful sister, Debbie, in the massacre, and who has been a great support to me and my family over the many years. And thank you to my own family and the love of my life, Joseph, my ultimate support. And thanks to all of you present this evening, including the various media, especially the staff on campus, the campus newspaper, the Titan, that has covered this story for 50 years, and they've done a wonderful job. Before I move on, and on a lighter note, a very big thank you. Allow me to express my sincere thanks and gratefulness to everyone involved with the beautification and the redesign of the Memorial Grove, the kind and careful planning of an area where students, staff, visitors can come, relax, and reflect, as horrible as it was that took place on that sad July morning of July 12th, to try and understand the importance of lives lost, and most important, to never, ever forget. I can only imagine the smiles on the faces of the 9 angels who own this area, this beautiful area, with so much attention to detail, that was created to honor the loss of their precious lives, each and every one of them. It's only 20 pages to go. I'm almost done. Sorry. I'd like to formally introduce my husband, Joe. We've been married 62 years. We are proud parents of 2 college-educated adult children, 3 college-educated plus grandchildren, and 4 yet-to-be college-educated grandkids.
Great-grands.
Great-grands. Forgive me, kids. We may have to create a GoFundMe page for those 4. Tonight, with your patience and understanding, in part, I'm here to relive some of the emotional pain of that horrible day, because I'd be remiss if I did not say that each and every time I hear a news report of yet another campus workplace massacre, which is almost daily, my heart is saddened. I see my father lying on that stretcher, hanging on to his last thread of life before he died in my arms at St. Jude's Hospital. That horrible scene is etched in my mind forever, and it still hurts. Tonight, I speak from my heart, free of political correctness, in hope of educating and promoting healing, but also to state that any mass murderer anywhere, a horrific, heinous, cowardly, all too often event with the loss of so many lives, should never be accepted, normalized, or forgotten. There's no let's move on for this one. No, we are in this horrible trend together because it can happen anytime, any place. It can happen more than once in one area. That has happened before. And now a brief account for those who may wonder how I learned of my father's death. I'll be brief. I'll try to be brief. I'm going to beat you out. On my way to work, I was 29 years old on my way to work when I heard the radio report of the shootings. Instinctively, I knew it was my father. I can see folks doing the math and wondering, why is this elderly lady, some might express this old bat, still carrying on about the loss of her father 50 years ago? My father was the last to die, and it was comforting to think that he waited until I got to the hospital. And as I mentioned, he died holding my hand and my arms. For many, maybe not all, you never fully get over losing a loved one, much less to a senseless mass murder. There can never be complete closure, especially when the murderer is still alive and working to be freed. The victims who continue to fight, like Paul and myself, Todd Spitzer, the campus, the media, and more, we are also imprisoned with having to write letters, to conduct trials, and be at every court proceeding because he wants his freedom, something we will never have, nor the individuals that he so selfishly took. Selfishly, I apologize. And now, on behalf of my family and friends, a brief sketch of who my father, Frank Duplansky, was. First of all, he was a survivor of World War II and the Korean War, a Marine for 20 years, a Marine who was shot 3 times in the back by a ruthless, cowardly mass murderer. My father was only 51 years old. Frank was a gifted artist who absolutely loved his home away from home. 11 years working in his studio here on campus as a graphic artist. He was also a talented pianist. He could play Mozart to boogie woogie, among other musical instruments as well. He possessed a wonderful sense of humor. He had a talent for performing magic tricks. As a child, myself and 3 brothers, we would be astounded when he would magically pull coins from out of his ear or making his finger disappear. He was a loving father, a grandfather who was never able to fully enjoy his family to watch him grow and enjoy their many accomplishments. Frank was this and much more. His senseless early death put a giant hole in our family's heart that can never be filled, and why it's so important to never forget. The adjudication of mass murderer Edward Allaway was a long and arduous case, finally being sentenced by a judge alone, Judge Nealon, who deemed him not guilty by reason of insanity, and given a parolable sentence. The judge sentenced Allaway to a mental institution. Over the past 50 years, he's been moved from one state hospital to another and currently resides at Napa State Hospital, a cushy environment compared to hard prison life. Why continue to bring attention to this? Why? Because every year, Allaway is eligible to petition for his freedom, which he has many times, something his victims will never have. If this mass murderer is ever released, it sets a very dangerous precedent that not only affects California, but our entire nation. It becomes case law and can then be used by any mass murderer attempting to be freed. We cannot afford the dire consequences of releasing even one mass murderer for any reason. To my thinking, maybe not all, but to my thinking, a mass murderer can never be rehabilitated, nor should we waste the taxpayers' money attempting to do so. In closing, it's my belief and hope and healing that healing can only take place if educational campuses like Cal State Fullerton and all educational institutions can share information on this horrific crime and continue to strive to educate people on how we can somehow contribute to a path forward in working on meaningful solutions or trying to somehow minimize this heinous act of mass murder with better security to start. We need to connect nationwide with all colleges and universities to improve our sharing and listening abilities, to pay strict attention to if you see something, say something, because it can save lives. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak my heart. I apologize for taking so much time. I appreciate all of you. I love every one of you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm a little slow. Can you get this for me?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
On behalf of Pat Almazan and her husband Joe, all the other surviving family members who are here with us in spirit, I want to extend my gratitude to each and every one of you for being here for this milestone moment. But most importantly, I want to thank you for sharing it not only with us, but with them. That's what's important. I'm not going into any more of the horrific details about the events of July 12th, 1976. I think Pat's description of that dark day is sufficient. Instead, I'd rather use this opportunity to celebrate the sense of love and community that prevails here this evening, casting light over darkness, good over evil. Frankly, as I look around and I gaze upon your faces while at the same time soaking in all the recently completed improvements to this memorial grove, well, I just have to tell you, I'm experiencing emotional overload, but in a positive way. And I actually now affectionately have nicknamed this beautiful space as MG 2.0. And I am quite confident this little corner of the world, surrounded by the 7 stately trees, 5 of which our original trees from 50 years ago, along with the new highly visible signage, solar lighting, beautiful drought-resistant landscaping, and the 7 personalized benches, well, it now provides a truly tranquil and healing haven for future generations of students and faculty alike. It's really become an outdoor extension of classroom academia and symbolically provides perhaps 2 of the most important lessons this university can provide: the fragility of life, and to fully appreciate and embrace each and every moment we are gifted. Regrettably, their gift ended far too soon. At this point, I would like to ask for your participation by reconnecting with these 7 individuals by speaking their names aloud. Why do this? The best way to answer that question is in these simple lines from a poem that I discovered many years ago. And it goes, "Someone I love has gone away, and life is not the same. The greatest gift that you can give is just to say their name." I think this little ritual sends a positive message out to the universe that even after half a century, they are not forgotten, but rather remembered and even celebrated. It's going to be a simple process. I say each name followed by the phrase, "never forgotten," and then you repeat that name and phrase in unison. I'm going to begin now. Stephen Becker, never forgotten.
Stephen Becker, never forgotten.
Dr. Seth Fessenden, never forgotten.
Dr. Seth Fessenden, never forgotten.
Paul F. Herzberg, never forgotten.
Paul F. Herzberg, never forgotten.
Bruce A. Jacobson, never forgotten.
Bruce A. Jacobson, never forgotten.
Donald E. Cargis, never forgotten.
Donald E. Cargis, never forgotten.
Deborah D. Paulson, never forgotten.
Deborah D. Paulson, never forgotten.
Frank Tuplansky, never forgotten.
Frank Templansky, never forgotten. Thank you. That was a beautiful tribute, and I'm confident they felt the love directed their way. In conclusion, our thanks and just like Pat did, our thanks and profound gratitude once again to Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer for his ongoing support, starting way back when you were an assemblyman and then a supervisor, and here we are today as a district attorney. And I also want to thank everybody, and there's so many people on the team at the university led by Phoenicia McCullough for their time, talents, and generous contributions making this event possible and the Memorial Grove transformation, a true transformation, a reality. And finally, to the 7 individuals you see in front of you. After 50 years, the old black and white photographs may be fading, but our memory of who they were remains as clear as ever. Never forgotten. And on a final personal note, my sister Debbie truly loved this university. It was the epicenter of her universe. First as an undergraduate, then a grad student and an employee. Had she lived, I don't know what she would have become. My guess is an educator, because she so loved literature and she loved to share her literature with others. But whatever it was, I am quite certain she would have reached her full potential and been spectacular. As Pat, Joe, and I illuminate the main candles, we ask that you also switch on your candles and let them shine in the memory of these 7 very special lives cut short by a cowardly act of premeditated and unmerciful violence. So, Joe, Pat,
Here we go. You pick up this candle. Turn it over. I'll light it.
Stephen Becker, Dr. Seth Fessenden, Paul Hertzberg,
No, we go. Paul. You got Paul already.
oh,
Yeah, you got
Gotta get my dad.
Frank
get your dad.
Templowski,
Deflansky.
yeah,
That's right.
Your sister.
Deborah Paulson, Bruce Jacobson, Donald Cargis,
Thank you, Pollak.
it is done. Out of darkness, light. Out of uncertainty, promise. And take to heart these final thoughts from the great humanitarian Helen Keller, who once said, "What we have once enjoyed, we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes part of us forever." Blessings to each and every one of you here this evening. Thank you so much.
As we will not be formally retiring the colors, I just want to share a couple of quick comments. First, regarding Stephen Becker, who I ended up being quite close with as an employee in the library, who happened to have a developmental disability. And his father was the founding dean of students on this campus, Ernie Becker, for whom the Becker Amphitheater is named. And all the evidence indicates that Stephen Becker actually saved at least 2, possibly 3 additional victims that the perpetrator was planning to take out. He happened to be on an elevator coming up from the basement, and when the elevator door opened, the perpetrator was there with a rifle. He, not thinking, I'm sure, just tried to wrestle that rifle away from him. And he actually saved additional lives, we believe, because the perp then fled the campus. And I had just driven into the library loading dock that morning, my second year on the campus, and saw police units, saw fire, paramedics. I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? And as I came over to the stairs, I saw the paramedics with Stephen on the gurney. And at that time, as we got to the top of the stairs, I noticed that Ernie was walking over from Langsdorff Hall. Someone had gone over and notified folks at Langsdorff Hall that something was going on at the library. And so I asked one of the paramedics, this is this victim's father coming over. Should I just take him up to St. Jude, where I knew they were taking him? And the paramedic said, no, you need to have him come with us in the ambulance. He said, he will not make it to St. Jude, which he did not. That moment, Ernie and I bonded, and we became very fast friends for many years, played a lot of really big-time tennis here and at the Fullerton Tennis Center. And it was one of those types of connections that you just never believe you're going to make. And it was just a really wonderful thing for me to have that experience and that relationship with Ernie, sort of looking at me as his son, who was still here, as opposed to Stephen. So, and I also want to announce that the emeriti of this campus, we have one of the most robust emeriti programs in the CSU and probably in the country. Everyone who works at Cal State Fullerton that retires with 10 or more years of service can be awarded emeritus status. As these 7 individuals and the 2 who were wounded were not able to earn emeritus status, the executive committee of the campus emeriti has chosen to award them honorary emeritus status because they are true titans. And as I call up the final speaker, Phoenicia McCullough, I want to just acknowledge again the kind of response, the kind of care, the kind of heart she put into this effort. Norma and I had conversations many months and months ago as we saw this 50th anniversary approaching. And we knew we needed to do something that was significant for the 50th. This grove has been really nice. It's been a lovely shaded area, but it did badly need an upgrade in so many ways. And it has turned out, as others have said, to be just an extraordinary example of what state employees can actually do when they understand the heart that's behind this project. I talked to that crew several times and made sure they knew what this was all about. And they did an extraordinarily fine job. And if it hadn't been for all of the coordination and the leadership of Phoenicia, it would not have happened, because it was a pretty tight time frame we were dealing with, because it needed to be today. So at this point, I would like to bring up Phoenicia and again say thank you for this.
Good evening. I had an opportunity to meet Paul Paulson and Pat Amazon and talk to them about the Memorial Grove and to learn more about their loved ones and what happened that day. We made a personal connection. We shared a story. And I committed to revitalizing and recommitting the institution to improve this Memorial Grove. Now, I have to pause and say it was an amazing team that made it happen. And that amazing team is the HR team, our administration and finance team, our president's office, our information technology division. I want to highlight our facilities team and take a moment to look around to see how they've transformed this memorial garden. And as I continue to work with my colleagues, we had our University Police Department, we have our Fullerton Police Department here, we also have our Academic Affairs Chief Officer here. And with them, it would not be possible. I would also like to thank Todd Spitzer in the Orange County District Attorney's Office. I think I have aligned and made a new friend. Kimberly, where are you? Kimberly was fantastic with coordinating with our team here, coordinating with the family, and making it all happen. But I would like to pause and say there were a lot of phone calls, emails, and let me just tell you, Paul was on top of it. He's always on top of it. And I would go back, I would say, Paul, give me a minute. I have to work with several teams, including my HR team and facilities and others as well. He says, Phoenicia, are you sure? I said, I'm positive. We are committed. I would like to say also thank you to Norma Morris for being here and being part of our Titan community. Paul Miller, thank you for emceeing. Thank you to Brad as well, our chaplain here today. And thank you to our guest speakers, and thank you for all those in attendance. This is just part of what Cal State Fullerton does here. We are a model institution showing others our recommitment that those loved ones will never be forgotten. I hope that you can take time to join us for light refreshments. I would also first like to call up the district attorney as well, and we would like to present something to the family. Todd, if you could come up, please.
That was so sweet.
With that concludes our program. I hope you have an opportunity to really enjoy the Memorial Grove, walk around and look at the beauty. And just remember the peace that we hope that it brings and the memories and the loved ones that will never be forgotten. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We only do things first class.
And let's not lock.